Welcome to the hellscape that was me trying to get TXT tickets to the Act Promise Tour today. So we're going to keep track of a couple of things in the next bit of the video. First of all, I have sped everything up to 2 times fast because you don't want to sit through this. But we're going to keep track of how many times I have to put in my pre-sale code, how many times I get bumped to the back of the queue, and how many times I have to verify that I am not a robot. Let's get into it. So this is the first time that I'm in the queue, and it's the first time that I've had to enter my pre-sale code. And it's 4:06, and the pre-sale started at 4, and I'm halfway through the queue. So I'm not thinking it's all that great so far. But then something happens. I get in, I see a lot of blue, I'm very hopeful, except that every time I put tickets into my cart, it says that they're already in somebody else's cart. And I do that so many times that it recognizes me as a bot of all things. So I have to switch to another browser, which means code 2, Q2, and then I have to go to the app because it also thinks that I'm a bot on the other browser. So that's code 3, Q3. Still doing the same thing, only this time it freezes completely, which means code 4, code 5, this window thing kept popping up and I couldn't make it go away, which made it really hard to see the seats, as you can see. Oh no, another failure. Back to the queue 4. Verification I'm not a robot 3. Back of the queue 5 again. I think we're at code 6. A lot less blue because it's working for other people, just not for me. Back of the queue, what is this, 6? Verification 3. Back of the queue again, so is that 7? It's really hard to keep count. I'm pretty sure that this is code 8. Back of the queue again. Verification 5 that I'm not a robot. 6 that I'm not a robot. Back of the queue again. That's like 8. Code 9. The percentage that they had of dynamic pricing seats versus standard seats was a little ridiculous. Back to the back of the queue again. That's, I think, back of the queue 9. Verification 7 that I'm not a robot. And back to the back of the queue with... So that's 10. See how they put me at the back of the queue twice there? Yeah. And every time I got in, there was less blue. I know I've said that before, but it was super frustrating that I could see that the website was working for other people and not for me. For me, it just kept looping like this in this... I felt like Sisyphus, right? Like the AXS is trying to eat my liver. Oh, code 11, I think? Even less blue. At this point, I know I'm in the nosebleed section. There is nothing else I can do about it. All the other tickets have been taken. And apparently those were as well. Oh, and this is not the video freezing. This is the app totally freezing. I was button mashing at that point, trying to get something to happen. All it would do would send me to the back of the queue again. And another time for my code. I think that's code 11. Back of the queue like 10 or 11 too. I tried the back row. It still didn't work. Still didn't work. So, one time I had to use, back of the queue, that's 12, I believe. One time I had to use, I believe it was either Ticketmaster or AXS. It didn't work at first on the standard. It would only let me buy a dynamic pricing ticket, a premium ticket. It was Ticketmaster because it was platinum. So here you see me trying to buy a premium ticket just to see if that'll work. It didn't. It sent me back to the queue for the 13th time, and my code had to go in for the 14th time, and now I'm just looking for anything. Again, trying to see if it'll work with a dynamic pricing ticket, but that one wouldn't even go into my cart. Instead, the whole thing crashed and sent me back to the back of the queue for the 13th time, and I had to verify that I wasn't a robot for the 6th or 7th time, which of course sent me to the back of the queue again for I think that's the 13th or 14th time now. It's really hard to keep track because it happens so quick and so often. Tons of fan want the tickets. Yes, I know, because every time you let me in, there's less blue. Oh, let's not go in. Let's ask for the code for the 15th time instead. By this point, it is fallen out of my clipboard on the copy paste. I had to go back to the email and copy paste it again. And then I had to verify that I wasn't a robot for the 7th time. Back of the queue for time number 16. I think. Honestly, I have lost count. This time, the queue went much slower, as you can see. I don't know why. I guess more people were finally getting in. Yes, code number 16. Clearly more people have gotten it because there are fewer and fewer seats. And yet, I still can't get any. This is ridiculous. No one should be getting this many errors. There is no way that every time I pick everything is gone. This is bullshit. Yeah. I almost fell to the dynamic crossing, but of course, all it did was boot me out again and made me verify that I was not a robot again. To the back of the queue I go, because apparently that's where I live. You know, I want to say that it could be worse. It could be Ticketmaster. But even Ticketmaster hasn't looped me like this. This was hell. And do remember, when you're watching how fast I'm getting through this queue, that this is at double time. Code number 17? Again, I'm just looking for anything at this point that isn't dynamic, because I refuse to pay dynamic. Like, on principle, I won't pay for dynamic pricing, but I will apparently get sent to the back of the queue and have to enter my code for an 18th time. Again, no dynamic pricing. Look how little blue there is left when you get rid of the dynamic pricing tickets. At this point, I'm seriously just looking for anything that isn't in the back row. Scroll. I'm going to try to go for those right there. And spoiler, I actually do get these tickets, like right there, and it was $5.22. So that was my hour and a half of hell.